Okay, we're back with our last example, which is writing an equation using a point and x-intercepts. And I mentioned in the previous video that when we're given x-intercepts, we're going to write our equation in intercept form. And the other one, we were given the vertex, so we use vertex form. So let's just review what intercept form is. F of x equals a times x minus p times x minus q. And remember, that's where the points p0 and q0 are your x-intercepts. The situation here is a meteorologist creates a parabola to predict the temperature for tomorrow, where x is the number of hours after midnight and y is the temperature in degrees Celsius. So if we look at this, our first point on here is 9.6. So that would be at midnight, because 0 would represent 0 hours after midnight. The temperature is 9.6 degrees Celsius. Then 4 hours after midnight, the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. And again, 24 hours after midnight, it's 0 degrees Celsius. Those 2 points are our x-intercepts. So I know that my P and my Q are 4 and 24. So if I want to plug those in my intercept form, I would get f of x equals a times x minus 4 times x minus 24. Just like when we did intercept form, we need to figure out what a is, and that's when we use the other point that's given to us. So that point 9.6 gives us an x and an f of x. So I'm going to put 9.6 over here for f of x and 0 in for my x's. When I simplify this and solve for a, I'm going to end up taking a -4 times a -24, and that gives me a positive 96, and that's still multiplied by a. So when I divide by 96, 9.6 divided by 96 gives me an a value of 0.1, or 1/10. So I'm going to write that function right here. F of x equals 0.1 times x minus 4 times x minus 24. That is our intercept form. Okay, let's answer the questions. B, what is the coldest temperature and when does it occur? Well, we can look at our graph, but we can't be for sure exactly where the minimum is. And remember, the minimum is our special value, our vertex. So we're going to have to find our vertex. Well, in order to find that, we need to know the axis of symmetry. And remember, the axis of symmetry is halfway between your two x-intercepts. So you can use your little formula, which is finding the average of those two. And those two are 4 and 24. So if you have two numbers, add them together, divide by 2. 28 divided by 2 is 14. So our axis of symmetry is at x equals 14. So if I put that on here, oh, what is that? Hold on. I don't know what that is. Okay. Put that on here. That is, here's 9, here's 12. It's just a little bit before the 15. So now we need to find what the y value is there. It might be pretty easy to tell looking at the graph, but let's make sure we do it algebraically so we know we are 100% correct. Okay, so that means I have to plug the axis of symmetry into my function for x to find the related y value, which is the y value of the vertex. So f of 14 equals 0.1 times 14 minus 4 times 14 minus 24. So that's 0.1 times 10 times -10. Okay, well, when you multiply those together, you get 0.1 times 10 is just 1. And then times a -10 gives you a -10. And you might have seen, or it might be very obvious, that that y value is -10. So the minimum temperature is -10 degrees Celsius, and that occurs 14 hours after midnight. That's what your x value represents. So we had to find the vertex to find that minimum temperature by finding the axis of symmetry, which is halfway between the x-intercepts, and plugging that value into the function to find the y-coordinate. The last question says, over what intervals of time is the temperature increasing and decreasing? So if we read our graph from left to right, we can see from time 0 to our vertex at time 14, our graph is decreasing, right? Our temperatures are going down. But after that, our graph is increasing. So we say it's decreasing. The temperature is decreasing for x values less than 14, or we could be more specific. We could make a little sandwich inequality because we're starting at the x value of 0. So we could say x values between 0 and 14. Let's do it like that. Okay, and then it is increasing between the x value of 14 and 24 because our graph ends at 24. Okay, we're going to do the next two examples in class tomorrow. Have a good, on Monday, have a good weekend.